Hi, my name is Professor Matthew Vitz. I'm in the History Department here at UCSD, and I'm going to be teaching the Global Seminar in Mexico City this summer. And I really hope that you will consider joining me. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and my experience researching and living in Mexico, and specifically in Mexico City. Well, I have lived in Mexico on numerous occasions. In fact, when I was 16 years old, I first went to Mexico and I stayed with a family for 2 months in the city of Guadalajara in the state of Jalisco. Later, many years later, in grad school, I lived in Mexico City. In fact, since 2006, I have lived in Mexico City off and on for about 5 years, okay? Most of this time was spent doing research and writing my book as a graduate student, and then later as a postdoctoral fellow. That is, after I finished my PhD, I was a research fellow at the prestigious university in Mexico called the UNAM. It's also the largest university in the Americas. So to sum up, I have a long living experience in Mexico City as a researcher and as a writer. And I should mention that I am an expert, because of all this work that I've done in Mexico, I am an expert on the history of Mexico City. So this is a wonderful opportunity, if you'll join me this summer, to not only live in Mexico, but also to experience the city with someone who is very familiar with it, and to learn about the history of Mexico and also the history of Mexico America in this very vibrant city. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about the classes that I'll be teaching. So the first class is HILD 8GS, and this is a class on Chicano history, or Mexican American history, that fulfills the DEI, that is diversity, equity, and inclusion requirement that we have here on campus. In this course, you're going to be learning a lot about Mexican migration to the United States, the making of the US-Mexican border. You're also going to be learning about the Chicano movement from the 1960s and 1970s in the United States, and how they borrowed a lot of their politics from what was going on in Mexico. Social movements and nationalist symbols and ideas that were being generated in Mexico and in Mexico City. The second class is called HILA 132GS, and this is the history of 20th century Mexico. And in this class, you're going to be learning about the Mexican Revolution of 1910 and its calls for social and economic justice. You're going to be learning about state and nation building after the revolution, and also taking it into the present, many of the nation's main economic and political challenges that the country faces today. We're going to treat the city as our kind of laboratory. Okay, so we're going to be going on a number of different excursions, day trips, to places that it's really going to illustrate these histories of Mexico America and of modern Mexico. For example, we're going to be visiting the famous National Anthropology and History Museum. We're going to be visiting the pyramids of a old civilization, the pyramids of Teotihuacan. We're going to be viewing all kinds of murals, mainly murals by the famous muralist Diego Rivera, who painted in the 1920s and 30s. And a number of other field trips that will really allow you to experience the city and, in a sense, live its history. So I just want to close by inviting you to follow up with me. Send me an email. If you can, please come to the informational sessions that I will be giving this fall. But if you can't make any of those, I encourage you to write me or come see me in my office, because I'd love to talk with you more about this fascinating and wonderful opportunity to live in Mexico City and learn all about the nation's history. Thank you.